What's going on? It's been a while, it seems. You know, even though I did cover boxing this weekend, not boxing, actually, UFC this last weekend. It's been a while. My chat just disappeared off the screen, but welcome. I guess you can say, what do you call this? It's not a season premiere because the boxing schedule over the next several weeks is lackluster, to say the least. There is some boxing news. There's a lot of boxing news. But as far as like the boxing, like the fights, I don't know what's going on. And there's also a lot of rumors going around about a lot of different things involving the sport. And particularly the PBC, Premier Boxing Champions. I'm disappointed in Tyson Fury versus Derek Chisora. I'm disappointed in The Zone and Matchroom. I'm disappointed with PBC. Top Rank is really not bothering me too much because, you know, what fights that Top Rank has should they be making? I think they're making all of the fights that they're supposed to be making. I do like Bivol versus Ramirez. But this is going to be an off-color look at the scenario. And I think I used this before. Boxing is like that old-timey 1950s abusive husband with the wife beater. You know, smacks you around, gives you Luis Ortiz versus Charles Martin on pay-per-view on New Year's Day. Then says, nah, we're not going to do it to you anymore. I'm sorry, I just was drunk. Then just hauls off and beats you up again on the bottle and gives you Robert Helenius and Deontay Wilder on pay-per-view for $75. Like, I told you, that mind your business. You don't question me in my house. And then yet, we just keep crawling back to that sorry-ass motherfucker. Not me. I'm standing up. I'm not going to be abused by this sport no more. I am not going to be abused by this sport no more. This sport is not going to beat me down. You know, and then expect for me to be just crawling back like, you know, I love him. You know, one day I'm hoping he going to change. Just for him to get liquored up again. And God knows what else they're going to try to put on pay-per-view. And there's no disrespect to the fighters. We know why we're not getting David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant, right? They want to put that fucking shit on pay-per-view. We knew, we should have known last year when we got Chris Arreola versus Andy Ruiz on pay-per-view. We should have knew, like, it's fucking shit, man. It's getting out of control. We got Luis Ortiz versus Charles Martin and not even that dingy looking Miami arena. You know? January the 1st, they said, we're going to start the new year off with some bullshit. January the 1st, they gave us Luis Ortiz versus Charles Martin on pay-per-view. Then Charles Martin's next fight opened up a YouTube stream on a Luis Ortiz versus Andy Ruiz pay-per-view. What the fuck? Top Rank's hands are not clean. I can understand it, but still, when did we ever get a UK pay-per-view that we had to pay for midday? What was that, April the 16th? Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte. That was pay-per-view here in the States. Nobody knows Dillian Whyte over here. And it was a dreadful undercard. And they trying to sell us Tyson Fury versus fucking Derek Chisora, who he beat damn near 10 years ago. I covered the video on the channel. Left-handed, beat him to submission, whooped him bad. And they're like, oh, well, Chisora, he's dangerous. This is true, though. You know, he gave Usyk a better challenge than Joshua did. That's true, but still, come on, man. What the fuck is going on? And I made the vow. This was about, I would say it was last summer. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to cover boxing. But I'm not going to be putting on my all into that shit no more. You know, don't get me wrong. You know, I love the sport. I've made some great decisions in my younger life to where I don't have to depend on covering the sport. But I'm not going to be fucking out here sucking no cock for this nasty. Like, no. You know, some of these organizations, they want you to be like, no, Boxing is a very, very. And we're going to get in the BLK Prime, but I don't. Is it Black Prime or is it BLK Prime? I'm calling it Black Prime. We're about to go take a look around their shit and go see who's running everything. So give me a minute. We're going to jump into that. But let me finish my little prologue, I guess, and just say how just fucking disgusted I am with this fucking sport. God, why's it got to be so petty? And you got fighters fighting every, twice in 14 and 18 months. And, you know, fighters talking all this shit. Then the fighters want to fight each other. But then you got networks like, nah, well, how we going to split the pot? He is our fighter. Man, am I trying to hear that shit no more? You know? Showtime fighters can't fight with the zone, and who gives a fuck? And they wonder why subscription numbers are down. Ratings for the sport of boxing are down. Pay-per-view buys, look at them. People, not all of you guys, but a lot of the guys, you know, are degenerate, you know, streamers. They stream the fights. You know, and they're proud of it. They'll tell you, I'm not paying for that shit. I'm going to stream that shit in 4K high definition. It's taboo to talk about. But the streaming, let me tell you what I do. So I purchase all of my pay-per-views because that's how I'm able to DVR and rewind. That's the only thing you can't do on streams. You can't rewind them. You know, so illegal stream, pirated streams. So I always check to see what the quality of the stream is versus I have Verizon Fios. I do have the Zone. Actually, I canceled the Zone, but I'm going to get them back probably this weekend. I do want to see Jojo Diaz versus William Zepeda. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is these streams are fucking crisp. Back in the day, we're talking back in 2010, 2011, 2012. If you wanted a boxing stream, you had to really want it. You had to go to the fucking Max boxing forums and the boxing scene forums, and you know, then you get a stream for Box Nation, and you gotta fucking play fucking games with the fucking the ads. You gotta click the little X, then another X pop up. You gotta click that real quick. Then you gotta make sure you have good virus protection, or your whole fucking system is fucked. But now it's just like, yo, whoop, click, high definition fucking streams. High definition streams. Every fight free in the world you can watch for free. Every fight. Sometimes I'd be amazed with some of the fights I can find when I'm having to watch fucking Australian fucking boxing. You know, I've got a love for that shit now. You know, I feel bad that I'm not going to cover what's the Wheatley guy, the IBF mandatory for cruiserweight. And you got these promoters slapping their dicks around. $75 for this pay-per-view. Here, take that. Deontay Wilder fighting sparring partners. Tank Davis versus Rolly Romero. That should have been a regular Showtime fight. That would have been HBO back in my day. That would have been HBO boxing back in my day. And then, oh God, listen, I don't want to get in trouble, but the media, oh my gosh, but I've already voiced my frustrations about them over the years, but we're not here for that. By the way, I have lost 45 pounds. Can you tell how slim I am? We're getting there. We're not all the way there, though. We're not all the way there, but I'm getting chiseled. Watch. One day y'all going to see me. You know, I'm going to have a full-ass head of hair. I'm going to get that shit Floyd got. The textures really, like, came out well. It took a little while. But, like, Floyd's hair and his, you know, his little, you know, genetically altered beard, that joint looking nice. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and then Spence versus Crawford. Terence Crawford versus David Evanessi. And then when I heard that shit, I forgot what I was doing. I've been going through something where I'm on these snack supplements. I'm getting really, really good sleep. T Street is sleeping about 8-9 hours a day. I'm talking like really good sleep. But anyway, I think it was like 3 o'clock in the morning because sometimes I'm in bed like 8:30. If it ain't a fight night, like I'm dead ass. I start my days like 5 o'clock in the morning, you know, but I'm laying in the bed. I think I was asleep and I thought it was a fucking joke. You know how sometimes you'll have like a little dream about some shit that you was doing on social media and you wake up. Well, anyway, the point I'm trying to make is I'm scrolling and it's like Terence Crawford, David Evernessians. And I'm like, what the fuck is it's this shit? You know, like I didn't want to believe it at first. What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? Now, me, even though I've told you I'm not going to be covering boxing full time anymore. You know, I'm going to be picking and choosing my fights. I've told you that a long time ago. This is not a channel where you're going to be seeing me do fucking breaking news videos every day, fucking doing videos off of motherfuckers' tweets and shit. That's not this channel. And I'm sorry for all the cussing. I haven't seen you guys in a while. I miss you guys. Tonight, though, however, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, let me tell you what we're going to be doing. I'm doing something different. I can't wait to see this shit. This shit's going to be this shit's going to be hilarious. Oh, I didn't unprivate it. Well, anyway, I'm doing another stream later on tonight for the John Fetterman and Dr. Mehmet Oz Senate debate. One of them had a stroke and he been hiding it. It's a mess, guys. It's a mess. But hold on, I'm gonna hold on. I meant to private or unprivate this link. But yeah, we do got some boxing to talk. Okay, so let me tell you the real truth. I don't know what the fuck Black Prime is. They've been calling it BLK Prime, but I'm just gonna say it's Black Prime. We're gonna go take a look around at their shit. All I know is it's this dude Desmond. He's throwing some money around. Adrien Broner supposed to have a 1-year deal for 3 fights, upwards to $10 million or so. Terence Crawford is fighting David Evernessians for $10 million. Is this that Kinahan MTK global drug money? You think this is some shit? Am I getting to conspiracy theory? But yeah, I'm doing this later. We're going to be streaming during that. But what's going on? Where's this money's coming from? Let's go take a look around at this BLK. Let's go see what's going on. All right. So Adrien Broner signed with them. A little tiny rumor came out about maybe like a day or two ago. And I've been paying attention. Broner's been spilling the beans for quite some time. I did a video on it about the inner workings or behind the scenes shit going on over at PBC. About, you know, the rumors have been going around for years that they've been having some money troubles. But I think it's safe to say that there's definitely something going on at PBC. Okay, for the loyal Al Heyman guys, you know, for the loyal guys, I get it. But come on, mate. Where are the fights? Where's the November boxing schedule? Remember Showtime would do like a big, you know, like presentation when they announced that fight? Where's that shit at? How about those Wilder versus Helenius pay-per-view numbers? I would love to hear about those. There's some shit going on over there. Fighters is just not enough dates going around. And there's also the pending doom, potential doom of Showtime, the network, where Paramount Plus already has Showtime content. If you have Showtime, if you have Paramount Plus, you have access to Showtime. But there's some suggestions that Showtime, the channel, may be disappearing as a whole. Or there may be cuts to Showtime, the channel, and one of the cuts may be boxing. Or the channel's content may be just in app form. So Broner has also hinted at it. That money's been drying up over there at PBC, and that boxing may be no more. Now, as far as Fred Barbershop conversation is concerned, I do take the information to be somewhat credible, but also, you know how I feel about him. He's a fucking turncoat. You can't take no turn. It's a shame because he does get some good content, but he's a turncoat. There's no loyalty there. So you don't know, like he already admitted in the past how he would like make up shit for PBC, Al Heyman, to spite networks like Matchroom, and Golden Boy. So, there's that. As far as, I'm be pulling it up, right? So I don't know can somebody tell me what's going on with this Black Prime? So they're a video on demand service. Black Prime. By the way, take your time out. Like the video, subscribe. I'm T-Street Controversy with the Fight View 360 Boxing Podcast. Available on Apple, Google, Spotify, all of your podcast streaming platforms. But yeah, let's go check this out. Let's go take a gander. So here's Black Prime here. Okay, so what is Black Prime? Black Prime is a subscription video on-demand company that offers multicultural content to a diverse audience worldwide. You can watch as much as you want, whenever you want, without a single commercial, all in one low monthly price. Okay? Okay. Is there a free trial? Can I get 7 days free? I mean, do it's an obscure foreign movie app. I guess that's the way to say it. But they call it BLK Prime, so it's not Black Prime. So who runs this Black Prime? Let's BLK Prime. This is what. Now I understand, see, they got Terence Crawford, but it's not like Terence Crawford brings in a lot of money. Let's be honest. You think Terence Crawford's going to drive subscriptions? You think Terence Crawford's going to have 100,000, 200,000 people sign up if they couldn't get them to buy with ESPN and HBO? He had a pay-per-view on HBO and on ESPN. And BLK Prime think they just gonna come in. No disrespect to them, but come on, we gotta be realistic here. But hey, if you got money to burn, then $39.99. I mean, y'all know me. I'm a degenerate. I'm gonna do it. I want to know who the broadcast team is going to be. All that. I'm going to be covering the shit out of this. You got comments here already. You think Bud probably got some money in this streaming app himself? Well, I don't know if they're paying him. How does that work? But we got too many pay-per-views. But also, what about those rumors, though, that he's making about $10 million or so? A guarantee that PBC couldn't get him? I mean, where do you go with that? Can you be mad at him for taking the money? I just don't give a fuck about none of these boxing politics. Thank you, Drew. BLK owner Corey Chapman is an EFC Wealth Management. I saw that somewhere. Let me look that up real quick. I forgot what site I was on. I was doing like a little bit of like research, like Googling. And I had a page where I had the people who were like running everything. But, it's risky because at the end of the day, it's all about the fight. And people don't really give a fuck about the fight. David Evanescence, I covered him in the past multiple times. People been wanting him to fight Conor Ben, and, it's just, it's a lot of questions. But also, where does that leave Spence versus Crawford? You think they're still going to do it in February? And now, Errol Spence's mandatories are coming after him. The IBF has been petitioned by Boots Ennis for his shot. Amantis Stanionis and Richard Schaefer, Probellum fighter, has now petitioned the WBA for their shot. It looks like Spence versus Crawford could be pushed off to possibly the summer of next year. Okay, Toby, damn it. Tom, why are you spamming? Dan Rayfield said Walter Helenius did 75,000 pay-per-view buys. Ew, that makes about sense. That makes sense. Nobody's buying these pay-per-views. They smack like they're smacking us around with these fights. But, what do y'all think about this? The Adrien Broner press conference that showed him signing with BLK was streamed on Blue Blood's channel. It looks like that Blue Blood, they're using him as like their media guy. I'm not knocking it, but I think that maybe they should spend some money. When you're trying to make a splash like you're making, put on a proper press conference, Like, I didn't like how, this is me being a nitpicker. I didn't like how, like, the banner was all wrinkled up in the background. Like, just like little small stuff. Like, am I kind of tripping? Here, I'm going to show you a little bit of it. It's like, you just got Adrien Broner, who that's a whole big thing right there. How did he get away from Al Heyman? That's a big thing right there. But also, you got Terence Crawford. You got Terence Crawford, and you got Adrien Broner. I just think they should have put something together a little bit better. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? This what it looked like. But yeah, remember, Broner was just bitching about Showtime having him on a Zoom call and not a regular press conference. Remember that for the Omar Figueroa one, and he walked out of the Zoom call, and they made him do it again like 2 days later. So, do you think this is a situation where Al Heyman, and PBC was like, look, like, we gotta let you go, but also, has Al Heyman, PBC have they not been able to fulfill their obligation financially to him? You think he got bought out of his PBC contract, and Al Heyman was like, you know what, I'm done. Like, I'm done with him. He keep putting all our business out of here. He's too much of a headache. And now it's being said that, or he's saying that he's going to make it's a 1-year deal, 3 fights, upwards to $10 million. But right now, boxing is just all over the place. And it's frustrating because, look at our winter schedule. What's the most meaningful fight? I mean, yeah, I do like Dylan White versus Jermaine Franklin. I do kind of like that fight. Dylan White could possibly get sparked. Tank Davis is clearly having some issues with PBC as well. I don't know if he's having issues. It seems as though he's having more issues with Mayweather Promotions than with PBC or Al Heyman. That's what it seems like. But Al Heyman's got to do something. He created this mess. He was paying these guys. It's hard to say. That fighters are overpaid. But he was intentionally paying these guys to keep them away from other promoters. He was trying to box like in the sport. He got sued for it twice. Yeah, I do read the super chats. I did read the super chat. Oh, my bad. I missed it. Drew. Walter told the Zone no to 120 M's for Helenius. Yeah. But these fighters don't generate the money. How can I say it? They make more sometimes than what the event is able to produce. That's why you get these fights on pay-per-view. and they making the fans pay for it. I want to know what's going on with Jermall Charlo too. Jamel, you know, my only issue with Jamel is the long layoff after the Castaño defeat to fight Tim Tszyu in damn near February, January the 28th. But Andre definitely needs to do something. Jermall Charlo definitely needs, you know, it's just, you know, like 2023 is not looking really bright. There's potential fights, but what do we have to show right now that we're going to get the fights made that we want to see next year? We're in a generation now where I can't even, you know, see a Tank Davis versus a Devin Haney fight. Like, it's too much political shit going on. And to me, it's clear that Tank Davis wants to be free, but he's got some significant legal shit going on too he's got to take care of. Allegedly, especially if it's true. You know what is being said that he's done. We also need a new boxing game. That fucking ESB boxing game, that shit ain't never coming out. They probably ran out of money. This week in New York in a Hulu theater. Is it in a Hulu theater or is it in a big room? Lomachenko versus Jermaine Ortiz. We have somebody at that fight this weekend. Colleague Donnell is going to be in New York. Oh, God, and I still got content from Big J to upload. I'm so behind. So basically, getting a home remodel done. And I'm going to be moving around doing my videos a lot. So going forward in the future, it may be videos where it just may be audio only. Pretty much getting about 40%, maybe 40, 50% of the house redone. So shit's a little fucked up right now. Also, I got 2 big trials coming up. And T Street is broke, so T Street needs some YouTube revenue. So this card on Top Rank this weekend, I'm actually kind of looking forward to this card. Thanks, Drew. Tank wants to answer Hearn's phone call, but can't. Eddie Hearn can't do nothing for him. Right now, Top Rank, Top Rank is where I think Tank Davis should be, for real. Can you imagine? Tank Davis on ESPN, he would be trending all over the fucking place. Like, I think Top Rank would be the perfect fit for him. I really do. You know, it's like that. For example, if you want 147-pound fights, even though we are talking about how they're having issues getting you fights, PBC is where to be. What were Paulie's comments? I told you guys, I'm behind. I covered UFC this weekend. I check out from boxing. You know, I'll check out, you know, for 2 weeks at a time sometimes. So I'm kind of out of the loop. I'm just getting back into like the swing of things with this stream right here. You know, so this is the first time in about 2 weeks I've been able to really, I've been trying to get back down to the desk this week, and I just covered UFC and then I had to move, you know, continue to move. But I'm trying to use this week to really ground back in. We got to look at the boxing schedule, but I'm definitely going to be here covering this card this weekend. You know, we're going to be streaming during the main event. That's for sure. But when I say there's a lot of small cards I'm not going to be covering anymore, I'm only going to be covering champion cards, champion press conferences, significant fights. I'm not covering no bullshit. For example, Katie Taylor, I mean, I'm going to cover her fight, but I'm not streaming none of her press conferences and media events for what? That shit. Oh, did you even know Katie Taylor was fighting this weekend? Exactly, because I just remembered. So this card is going to be on ESPN Plus. Is it regular? ESPN Plus this Saturday. It's in the theater. Okay, so it is in the theater. Lomachenko versus Jermaine Ortiz. You remember Jermaine Ortiz because he's got that upset win over Jamel Herring in his last fight. If Lomachenko wins, it's expected for him and Devin Haney to fight. Devin Haney is going to be in attendance. And then it is expected for the winner of Haney and Lomachenko to fight Shakur Stevenson. So at least, so you see that right there? You see how Top Rank has like a storyline right there? You know, at 135? You know the path that they're taking with their fighters? Lomachenko beat the shit out of Richard Comey and Masayoshi Nakatani. He came back on a vengeance. It's a damn shame that we'll probably likely never see that that Teofimo rematch. I don't never see Lomachenko going to 140. I don't even see it at a catch weight of like 138. Jojo Diaz also fights this weekend too. I'm interested in his fight against Williams Abeda, who has been looking kind of shaky. He was like looking like a boogeyman about a year and a half ago. And then has been looking kind of shaky. But back to this top ring card. I like Robeisy Ramirez. I was at his fight, his first loss. What was that? To Aiden Gonzalez, I believe. He's taking on a Jose Matias Romero. Where have I seen this guy fight before? 26-2. Up Argentine. You never know these Argentine fighters, man. They hit or miss. Michel Rivera. Isaac Cruz. So I have seen him fight before. Twice. So his only 2 losses are to high-level competition. And they've been unanimous decisions, not stoppages. So you can say that this is a step up for Ramirez. You can say this is a step up. 10-1 with 6 KOs. Abraham Nova, that was a solid, step up fight for him. I like it. He's on the fast path. I like it. Damn shame Andy Cruz couldn't get over here. He tried, but they caught him. It's fucked up. Duke Reagan. Okay, basically the card is filled out with prospects. Nico Ali Walsh. They've been pushing the shit out of him. Richard Torres Jr. These are the guys to watch out for. Right now, all of them for real. Even Abdullah Mason. But they got a lot of prospects, yo. Did you notice another thing? Is top prospects are prospects. They don't sign with PBC no more, or even, Matchroom still kind of, or Golden Boy, they just got somebody. But, the prospects, like, they go to Top Rank. Top Rank is, that's the place to go when you want your fighters to be built up. Now, does Top Rank usually keep their fighters? No, but they're damn sure good at building them up. That's for sure. They got, decades and decades of experience with that. But also, let me pull up the rest of the cards for the weekend. But yeah, I got Lomachenko over Jermaine Ortiz. I'm guessing Devin Haney's going to be there. They're probably going to do maybe. You think they'll do it in ring? If Loma beats Jermaine Ortiz, maybe they have them face off in the ring. Loma and Devin Haney. I expect for ESPN to give Devin Haney his own segment during the card. I'm expecting that. By the way, me and Big J did talk about the fight, and I'm like a week late uploading that video. Hold on, I'm pulling up the rest of the boxing schedule. And then I'm going to be back. For those who are interested, as I told you, I'm not going to only be covering boxing anymore on the channel, but we're going to be talking some politics. Yup. We're going to be streaming during the live debate between potential senator candidates John Fetterman and Dr. Mehmet Oz. Oz is not from here. Fetterman is recovering from a stroke and can barely talk. And also, he's did some fucked up racist shit in the past, some racial profiling. So this is going to be must see TV here. But anyway, let's go look at the boxing schedule. Ew, I'm scared of what I'm going to see this boxing. What up, Jackie Johnson? This boxing schedule going to be fucked up, ain't it? Like, what fights are you interested in? I'm not even hyped. Let me read it first. I'm not even hyped for Chocolatito versus Gonzalez 3. It doesn't call me. Oh, yeah, we got Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva. I got Anderson Silva, by the way. What is the point? What is the point? What's the point of this fight? I mean, money. Okay, yeah, okay, all right, money. Aston Sylve. I've been neglecting all of this content. Like, for example, I was on the Zoom call between Le'Veon Bell versus Uriah Hall. Remember, Le'Veon Bell knocked out Adrien Peterson. I covered that fight a couple months ago. He's fighting former UFC fighter Uriah Hall. You got Dr. Mike. Yeah, I just don't even want to. You know what? Just fuck this card. I'll cover that card this weekend, but I'm scrolling past that shit. And that's pay-per-view. AP, your politics are bad. I'm out. All right, why would you just leave? Why don't people announce when they're leaving? That's the most horse shit you can do. Just leave. The JoJo Diaz versus William Zepeda card. You have 3 competing cards on Saturday night. On the Zone, JoJo Diaz versus Zepeda. Showtime pay-per-view, Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva. Then on ESPN, you have Loma versus Jermaine Ortiz. Earlier in the day on the Zone as well, you have Katie Taylor's card. So Loma Ortiz, that's the card of the day, right? I think that's the most significant card of the day. How would you rate these cards? I'm going to rate it of significance or appeal. Loma versus Ortiz. Paul versus Silva. JoJo Diaz versus Zepeda. And then Katie Taylor versus Lord knows who's Katie Taylor fighting. Don't forget. Who you fighting, Katie? Where we at? Karen Bahal. Karen Elizabeth Bahal. Jordan Gill, Kiko Martinez, Mary Romero versus Ellie Scott. They don't like Ellie Scott. Gary Cully versus Juwad. Blah, 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 blah. You know, I would rate this boxing weekend on an A to F scale. B minus. B minus. B minus. She's 19-0 with 2 KOs. Argentine girl too. Argentine's taking over. B minus. What up, Donnell? B minus. I think that's about right. You know, because the only fights that are really, really the only meaningful fight, really significantly meaningful fight is Loma versus Ortiz. Paul versus Silva is intriguing. It does have some intrigue to it, but it's pay-per-view. The base starting at 40 minutes. Yeah, I know. The base not starting at 40 minutes. It's starting at 8 p.m. It's 6 p.m. now. They doing a pre-show at 7:30. The JoJo Diaz versus Zepeda fight, that's the most intriguing fight of the weekend for me. For me. I like that fight. Yes, the cards that overlap, Reese, you have Lomachenko Ortiz, Paul versus Silva overlapping. And Zepeda versus... So the Zone, ESPN, Showtime all having cards at the same time. If I was to put my money on what fight would end, if I were to put my money on something, Top Rank and ESPN, they've been doing better in having their cards over around 11, 12 o'clock. So the last fight of the night will probably be Paul versus Silva. We should be able to watch that uninterrupted. But I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here streaming. It's all right, cool, Lomachenko, cool. He's still somebody to watch. You think Silva taking a dive? Damn, y'all think that man, all his accolades, he gonna take a dive? God damn, y'all harsh. I don't think that far. Let's go look at the rest of the boxing schedule. Jesus, I haven't even looked at November yet. Australian boxing, Jason Wadley versus Tues Masternak. I covered Masternak years ago. That's an IBF cruiserweight eliminator for the winner to face Jai Opetaia. Remarkabalo's back over in the Philippines. He got beat up by Donaire, didn't he? Before Donaire got his shit pushed in by Inoue. Okay, nice little Japanese fight. Kinshiro Teraji versus Haruto Kaiguchi. November the 1st, but who really cares about that? I'm looking for marquee fights. Okay, November the 5th, Bivol versus Ramirez. Looking forward to that. Chantel Cameroon versus Jessica McCaskill. Ooh, that's kind of I like that fight. I like that fight. I like that fight. That's kind of erotic. Boxing erotica. David Morrell versus Ill. Busanuli. That's going to be on. They got a media call tomorrow. Ill. That's a showcase fight. I don't. No way. Let me get the hell away from that. Sonny Edwards versus Felix Alvarado, November the 11th. Okay. Gingerbek Alimhanallah versus Denzel Bentley. That's for the WBO middleweight title of 160. Ew, just Sinesa super bad strat. You know what? Let's just scroll past that. Sorry, ESPN. Montana Love versus Stevie Spark on the zone. Oh, God. Richardson Hitchens, former Mayweather Promotions fighter, is now signed with his own Matchroom, but just it's some shitty fights right there. Natasha Jonas versus Marie Eat the Care. Winner of that fights Terry Harper, maybe. But I mean, so far, is it anything? That November date should be David Benavidez versus Morrell. But if you're looking like Mayweather versus KSI's brother, like where's the marquee fight? This is depressing. Hakeem Rahman versus Vita Belfort. It's depressing. It is depressing. Oh no. Harlem Eubank versus Tom. Dylan White versus Jermaine Franklin. Okay, all right. Fabio Worley versus Nathan Gorman. Zach Parker, John Ryder. When is Cepeda versus Regis? Is that in November? That's pay-per-view too, though. Oh gosh. Oh. Okay, Regis versus Cepeda, but that's pay-per-view. That takes away from it. That takes away from it. That makes me go, huh? Boxing is fucked. Think of all the good fights that we could have had this year if they actually put their mind to it and stop fucking around. It's horrible. It's horrible. But I'm going to be getting up out of here because I got a lot of shit to do. And also we're going to be streaming some politics. I got some things I want to get off of my chest starting in about an hour or so. This right here is a little kind of fucked up. We talked about this earlier in the video. And it's going to be interesting to see what's going to be going on with Showtime. By the way, it's looking like Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis is not going to happen. And even though this is some big news that is shaking up the boxing world with Terence Crawford versus David Evanesian and Adrien Broner signing with this streaming service, are they going to really move numbers? Are you going to, here, honestly, have you signed up for BLK Prime yet? And what's my seat so low? And are you going to sign up for BLK Prime? Because Terence Crawford and Adrien Broner has... Because what's the point? Because are they going to bring us big fights? Are they going to bring us big fights? Like, is it going to be the same? Is it going to be like, oh, well, the zone fighters don't work with BLK fighters? Like, what's the point? It's just, what's the point? Jose Sissy Yoa says, why politics, Tree Street? Because I want to cover what I want. You don't have to watch. You can just watch the boxing content. So you guys did sign up? I'm going to sign up. But you can't count me. I got to sign up to cover the shit. You can't count me. But actually, no, you don't have to sign up. You just purchase the pay-per-view. They're just streaming pay-per-view fights. But hopefully they put some, they get some seasoned people behind it. I'm not saying put a whole bunch of money in a broadcast and have a fucked up broadcast, but I hope they make it look nice. Yeah, I already knew I was going to get flack for years, when I cover other content on the channel. But just so happens when I do step outside of the box and I cover other content on the channel, it does surprisingly well. I just don't do it enough. But, you know, I have a channel here with 80-something thousand subscribers and, you know, very good standing with YouTube. I get to do a lot of things, or potentially do a lot of things that other YouTube channels can't do. You know, so I don't get a lot of copyright issues, and, you know, like they don't bully me, you know, like they used to. So that's why I'm able to show like movie reviews and clips and highlights, and other YouTube channels can't do that without jumping through hoops from YouTube. So, it's in my best interest, especially since boxing is so fractured, and for my own mental health, to cover other things. And I've been doing it for a while now, where, as you can see, what does it say on the screen? Reactions, Fight View 360, Crime News Podcast. I put that up there for a reason, even though I'm going to change it. But this is not just a boxing channel. It's not T Street Controversy Boxing. It's just, no, you know, I'm covering multiple things. I have a channel where I can do it, and a brand, and, you know, that's what I want to do. You know, yes, I am still doing Father's Rights. Look, we're actually going to talk about it during the debate. That's one of the big topics I'm going to talk about during the debate. But yeah, fathers against abuse. Don't give up. Very expensive. But yeah, what is this though? Is it Black Prime or BLK Prime? And what does the BLK stand for? Let me do a little Google search. BLK Prime. Boxing investors. Let's see. I'm trying to find who, like, you know, like their page, like who runs everything. Trying to find out who runs everything. It's a video on demand service. I'm gonna have to do some research. That's what it does. It looks like they show like Bollywood stuff. They show not necessarily Bollywood, but they show it's a foreign movie streaming app. But yet they're picking up boxing events. Like it's weird. You see what I'm saying? Like they show foreign movies, but they have it paid for $3.99 a month. Movies like The Nation and The Otto Man. You know, Legendary. Whoever this man is over here, he looks sinister. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was joking. Boxing is fucking with my mental health. I was joking when I said that. Is this that MTK Global, Daniel Kinahan, Irish Mafia, drug lord cartel money? You know, they said, listen, let's buy up this app and give Terence Crawford his money. That's just a joke. Just a joke. I'm just joking. Ha ha. Funny. Ha ha. Because my question is, how the hell do they think they're just going to come on the market and just say, hey, what's up? We're here. You know, like David Evanessi in $39.99. Like how? But, you know, hey, it is what it is. Let me get up out of here, though. I got to get ready for this debate. See you guys later. I'm going to be streaming again in about another hour if you care about some politics. I'm interested to see who turns out. Thanks for watching. I'm T Street Controversy with 5U360.